Yesterday, I was being interviewed by Nomad Capitalist, a guy named Andrew, who has lived in 100 different countries, and he teaches people how to have dual citizenships, and he owns properties in 5 different countries is what he does. He's all about leave America because there's better places to live than America. He asked me a question. He says, are you an America fan? I said, diehard. He says, tell me what you mean by that. I said, I'm a diehard America fan of what it was founded on. America, to me, is the values of principles, which is what? Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom of your Second Amendment, free enterprise, that stuff. The moment that changes, it's no longer America to me. It's a complete different name to me. So the moment certain states, and what California is experiencing right now, as well as New York, when you're 20 years old, guess where you want to live? You want to live in L.A. You want to live in, well, you live in Miami. Partying in Miami is probably going to be better than partying in L.A., quite frankly, if you think about it. Miami partying is pretty legit. So, but when you're younger, you're like, oh, I'm in L.A., Hollywood, I'm in New York City, all this stuff. And then you start kind of making money, and you start having a family, and you start kind of saying, well, I just don't know if these are some of the, things that I want to be around. I want to kind of have a little bit more flexibility and freedom. Then you start looking. And then if America goes on the tipping point and they really start pushing around the populace, I just think it would be like, how with business, when you see somebody that's totally screwing up, like Sears is screwing up, you're leaving an opportunity, okay, for others to come in. When you saw Blockbuster royally getting arrogant as an $8 billion company screwing up with the late fees, you remember how annoying it was with Blockbuster? Dude, just wipe it, take it off. No. I said, I'm paying you $30 for this movie to buy brand new. It's $15. Waive the damn late fee. Put a limit of the value of the DVD. No, I'm not going to be doing yours $30. After doing that to tens of thousands of people, you're like, you know what? I'm sorry. I just can't stand the way you treat customers. I'm out of here. Now there's only one left, and we interviewed the manager, the one Blockbuster that's left. I don't know where it's at, Seattle or Washington or something like that. I think today, there's a great opportunity for a handful of countries to become a second option. I think today's a great opportunity for a handful of countries to say, you know what? We kind of see America that's been what everybody wanted to be like. What if we see the mistakes America's made and we give that safety to people to come over here? What if we change it up, okay? What if we change it up? How many people are going to move? Not many. But all it takes is a couple people that move, influential, and then if and only if America royally gets cocky, arrogant, egotistical, kind of like the city of Detroit went from 200,000 people to 1.8. And next thing you know, the municipalities, the city employees, the government people started kind of pushing people around. Ford said, listen, forget about it. You're right. We're out of here. People started leaving. They went from 1.8 million people living in New York City, richest city in the world, to 700,000 people living there. Today, if you call 911, I don't know if we covered this on the last podcast, if you call 911 in Detroit City today, it's the poorest city, and it's the most dangerous city to live in America today. Today, poorest and most dangerous, lowest. It's the worst city today based on economical freedom and safety, right? You call 911 today. Do you know how long it takes for cops to show up? 59 minutes. Let me say this one more time. If you dial 911, it takes more than 50 minutes for cops to show up if you call 911 today. You call them, you tell them. Kai said this in the room. You call them, you tell them, I'm about to rob the bank. You go rob the bank. It takes you 20 minutes to do it. You leave, and they still haven't shown up, right? So what does this mean with America? If America gets too cocky and arrogant, start pushing people around, I think people will be looking at going elsewhere. If you look at a lot of people, where are you from? Oh, I'm Irish. Their family left Ireland to come here. Where are you from? I'm Jewish. Okay, your family left Israel. Where are you from? Norway. Your family left. Where are you from? Mexico. My family, Iran. Where are you? So if people from other countries are willing to move to a country like this, people will be eventually forced to leave America if America gets too cocky. You guys have any opposing opinions on what I just said? I know you want to say like Merkel was...
I just... Look, obviously, we're all very pro-American, and we love it here. But, it's easy to say, well, just leave America. Oh, well, just leave America. But where are you actually going?
Did you hear what I said earlier?
Yeah, okay.
What did I say?
Regarding what?
I said if, same way Blockbuster lost people, this is a great opportunity to be a Netflix.
I agree with you.
So
Canada.
Belize.
Exactly.
Costa Rica. Canada. No,
I'm not saying now, but I'm saying they could.
They could be.
I know a lot of people that moved to Costa Rica.
Dubai is a place that's attracting a lot of people. Now, living there is a different kind of a lifestyle. So you're going to have to ask about the pool of talent, the benefits of talent. So the guy asked me a question. He says, you know, he was in somewhere in Central America is where he was at the country he was staying at. I said, so he says, would you consider, I said, certain industry could do that. Not all industries could do that. Like he's a guy that does online courses, things like that. You can live where? Anywhere.
Correct.
Engineers, anywhere. Coders, anywhere. Certain industries, you can't go anywhere. So the challenge would be, the only challenge when I process it is what? Pool of talent. But if you have a place, I tell you right now, if we had a country, I'm telling you right now, if we had a country right now, somehow, somewhere, we got 10 million people and we got a good amount of land, right now, decent weather, some natural resources, watch what we would do to that country 20 years later. I'm telling you right now, if we had a country right now with 10 million people, decent natural resources, some land, give us 20 years. Look what we would do to our citizens. Look how much they would love living where we live. Look the kind of foundation and the values and principles we will build that country in. And look what kind of people would want to live with us. And you know what we would do? We wouldn't allow everybody to come in. It wouldn't be one of those situations where it's like it would be by invitation, just like, you know, if you want to be part of Clubhouse, what do? You have to be invited.
Right.
Okay? Back in the days, a lot of these social media platforms, you have to be what? You have to be invited. It'd be a similar thing. Hey, you're going to say, Pat, I think we got to let Keith in here. Tell me about Keith. Dude, we're going to love Keith. What are you talking about, bro? Have I ever brought anybody? Okay, cool. Bring Keith in. I think there would be an element of that we could build a country with.
Invite only.
Yeah, that was the origination of Facebook. Remember that? It was college by college, and you had to be a student at that college. And those are the emails that you had to have.
So I agree. I don't see a valid, viable option to today. There are some. Singapore, New Zealand, there are some. Singapore is an option. New Zealand is an option. And quite frankly, those would probably at the top 5 of places you would look at. Costa Rica is an option. When I went to Panama City, Panama, not Panama City like Spinnakers or you know, Club La Vila. I'm talking Panama City.
Panama next to Nicaragua.
Panama. Yes. When I went to Panama City and I played poker with the senator, I'm sitting there with them and I said, so where are you from? Oh, I'm from Dallas. Oh, very cool. You vacation here often? He says, no, I've been living here for 11 years. I said, why'd you leave? I said, do you know the regulations here? Unemployment here is 2.3%. They leave you alone. You can do anything. Have you looked at the real estate in Panama? Matter of fact, go to Panama and type in Panama real estate. Panama City, Panama real estate. Like buildings.
Some of the buildings are ridiculous.
Buildings. You got to put buildings, right? Panama City buildings. Yeah, buildings. I hope it goes to the right Panama City. Put images like right there. Like, you ever seen anything like that in U.S.? The F&F Tower. I've never seen anything like this in U.S., right? You look at some of the, right there, click on that one right there, luxury real estate. Look at that. You know, you see some of the most beautiful stuff. Now, obviously, I'm seeing stuff like this in Miami, but he says, have you seen what we're doing in Panama City? The next guy, where are you from? Chicago. How long you come here? I've been living here for 10 years. So that gave a glimpse, and that was 10 years ago. That gave me a glimpse that people are considering moving to other countries from the U.S.
No doubt. And I know a lot of people, especially people in South Florida that end up in Costa Rica, what have you. I guess my point was, yeah, little pockets here, go to Costa Rica, little, you know, maybe you go to little Panama, like little tiny countries. Maybe you end up in New Zealand. I guess my macro question is, what country is going to supplant America? I just don't see one right now. And I'm not being a cocky American, like, oh, you can't compete with America. I just, like Paul joked and said Canada. I don't know if he was joking or not. Go check out the weather in Canada 9 months out of the year. Good luck over there. So I'm just saying, you want to go to China? Go have fun in China.
Go check it out in Michigan. Or, you know.
Well, that's what you can move from Michigan
but wait
to
a minute.
Florida.
No. Wait a minute. Let me ask you this. What was the richest city in the world in 1950s?
Motown, baby.
What was the temperature in Motown? 80 degrees year-round? Do you know the temperature in Motown?
Well, that was because of Thomas Ford and, you know, the Industrial Revolution and making the cars and
or his brother Henry Ford.
Thomas. I was thinking of Thomas Edison, Henry Ford.
You just
Thomas Ford.
Nikola Ford, right? He was a good guy in the.
I'm thinking of Thomas Edison and Ford put them together.
But the point
Rocket
you
scientist.
just made, without trying to make a point, is one man changed a city. One. It didn't take 50. It didn't take 100. One person changed the city forever. Ford came in, created jobs. Everybody moved in. Other automakers went there. Motown came out of there. Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. You know, all of those names of who came out, meaning the records who signed them. All of that is from Motown, Detroit. Okay, they call it the Paris of the West, a Paris of the Midwest, Detroit. So, and weather sucked there. It's not about the weather. Don't get me wrong. I give credit to California. Weather's got to be the Miami weather. Totally, I get it. Weather's very important. I'm not going to go. I was about to move to Naperville, Chicago. A friend of mine, Jeff, had a place. I was going to go. I wanted to run with the guy for a couple decades, right? But I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm much better being in LA or much better being in Florida. But that's my preference. But if it comes down to it and they force, people would rather follow a leader, an environment that gives you safety and freedom, and they'll give up a little bit of weather. They'll give up a little bit of other things to have freedom. There's nothing in your life that's more important to you than freedom. Nothing. When you have it, you don't know you have it. You know how when your body is doing well, you don't think about any potential pain. Then you start having back pain. And then what you say, I'll give anything to get rid of this back pain. Then you get COVID. You're throwing up all over the place. And dude, I'll give anything. I'll give anything to get rid of this, right? Yeah, when you have freedom, you don't know you have it. People don't know they have freedom. They don't know. So, but when it's taken away, then you're going to say, there's no way in the world I can live like this for the rest of my life. I'm willing to go to a different place because I just want to be free. Listen, the chance of us getting there's less than 1%, just so people know. It's not a big chance. We're not going to Vegas right now, betting $100,000 because, you know, America's going to go down. But that 1% chance is a chance where you should have a hedge. You should hedge against it and have your own insurance policy in case things do happen.
And can I clarify one thing Adam kind of made fun? When I was talking about Canada, I was talking more Vancouver, which a lot of Americans have been moving to, and Montreal.
Freezing.
They have been stealing business from Hollywood. A lot of productions are going to Canada and doing that.
That's a good point, Paul.
And so those were two of the examples I was thinking of when I said Canada has a huge opportunity. They've already pounced on that opportunity, and I could see them continuing to grow.
It's just a very powerful point you just made with what's happening over there with Austin, even getting business away from Hollywood.
Right.
And
Pat, one counterpoint with that, but aren't you like the Detroit example? Because my dad's from Detroit, and he ended up moving to Florida in the '60s, so I'm familiar with this. But aren't you sort of highlighting the beauty of America? It's like, well, if you're unhappy in that state, move to a different state. I mean, it's exactly what's playing out right now with California, New York, and why people are moving to Florida, Tennessee, Texas. Isn't that sort of the point of America, that, you know, states' rights, that certain states are screwing up? Like you did an awesome video about, is New York the next Detroit? You can move to a different state, right? You don't have to move to a different country. I just don't see the country that's going to usurp America.
Sure. If federal government has more power than state level, the state didn't decide to get a $1.9 trillion stimulus. But that $1.9 trillion stimulus affects people living in any state, including South Dakota, that maybe wasn't affected by COVID,
Fair enough.
like a place like California was affected by. So yes, federally, you are still getting side effects of bad decisions being made at the top of the government. You will be affected by it. All I'm saying is, this is a great time for another country to position themselves. When Rick Perry was coming to the state of California and he was saying, you've heard me say this, you're running a business, you're not happy, regulation, come to Texas. Come to Texas. Now guess who's doing it today? The two of the most hated governors in America today are who? Abbott and DeSantis. Why? You know when I talked to Ron Kim yesterday, he said something very interesting, and I was like, why would you say that? He said, I don't think it's a good strategy to recruit citizens from other states to your state purely based on the economy. I'm like, that's the whole idea. What are you talking about? People went to New York because you're recruiting people to economy. And he made a comment which, and by the way, I can't wait to have Ron back again. We had a great hour conversation and discourse, and there was a debate and banter where he's saying his side. He said, well, I know who you are. Of course, I follow your stuff. But I got to tell you, here's what I stand. You came in America. We both came here as immigrants. I'm 41. You're 42. My dad owned a liquor store or a grocery store. After 10 years, they had to shut it down and all this other stuff. And I said, okay, so you have personal experience. I said, you decided to go into business. I went into public. So you went into being an entrepreneur. I went to public. And he said, I don't think it's a good strategy to take people away from businesses. And then I said, what about the fact that a division of Goldman Sachs is leaving, Peterson, all this stuff is leaving? And he says, yeah, it's okay that financial people are, he didn't say it's okay that financial people are leaving, but he's saying it's the financial folks that are leaving. But we're building our own tech hub like Silicon Valley in New York City. That's what's growing. If the financial people do what they do, let them do what they do. But we're building a technology center, like a hub, like a Silicon Valley in New York City. So, it's interesting, but more power to DeSantis and Abbott. But imagine if now it's a country. Now imagine you're a president and you go and you have an accent, whatever part of the world you are. Hey, this is President such and such, okay? And you go on the media and you talk in 50 different media platforms, BBC, whatever, all these other places, Sky News Australia, all these places you talk. And you say, Americans, I can't believe I'm saying this, but from a person who admires your country and what it was founded on, I am surprised on what is happening today to your country. Here's a country that was able to do in 200 years what China couldn't do in 2,000 years. Here's a country that was able to go from nothing just because of some land. You became the most powerful country in the world. Here's a country that went from having this kind of a GDP to doing this kind of a GDP. Here's a country that gave birth to Rockefeller, Franklin, Chase. You go through the list of great entrepreneurs. But unfortunately, we all know you're no longer the America you used to be. And if you're somebody that's looking at options, let me explain to you what we at our country are doing. We protect this. We protect that. The 5 concerns that you may face is this. Here's how we have protected you long term. And all I suggest is before you even think about moving to our country, I suggest you come here for vacation for 3-4 days and see how you like it. And we are giving $500 tax credits if you come here from America. Come pay a visit to us and see if you like that. If you do, we would love for you to consider to bring your talents and your resources to our country. At $300,000 deposits you bring to our country, we give you citizenship. And with the benefit of our citizenship, you get the following. Boom, 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 boom. If that starts happening with another country recruiting people away from America and that country has something to offer, it's going to get very interesting because you can run a business out of any country and you're zooming in. You can have people, you're running it from all over the place. You can zoom them in, right? Mm-hmm. I got people working for us from Armenia. We got people working for us from India. We got people working for us from Colombia. We got people all over the place because they can work remotely. So if something like that were to happen, America could see somewhat of people being comfortable knowing that if America goes the wrong direction, I have a second choice. I can go somewhere else.
Would you secretly or even not so secretly actually love to see that?
I would secretly and publicly never want to see that. Ever want to see that. You do not
want to see that.
Ever in a billion years, I would never want to see that. Ever. Zero. Not even 0.01%. Ever want to see that happen. But you know what I would love to see happen? I would love to see a country get to a point that they have the resources and the offer to get others to consider that you could leave. I'd love to have a country that's an option 2 where America realizes there is option 2. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.